Good evening. Tonight, the world turns its attention to a country too often seen only through headlines of instability, Burkina Faso. But beyond the noise of politics and the quiet neglect of the global press, something remarkable is happening there. A story of survival, resolve, and a nation learning to stand on its own feet. And at the heart of it, a single convoy BIR19 driving through dust and danger to prove that hope can still move forward even when the world has stopped watching. In the early light over eastern Burkina Faso, the air feels heavy, almost solid. Red dust rises in slow spirals, clinging to everything it touches: trucks, rifles, faces. The roads here are not roads at all, just scars on a wounded landscape, stretching from Bogande toward a forgotten town called Mani. On this corridor, peace is a memory, and yet, this morning, a column of armored trucks prepares to roll into the unknown. Each engine growls like a tired beast. Each man behind the wheel knows what one mistake can mean. They are soldiers of BIR19 Burkina Faso's Rapid Intervention Battalion, forged under the command of President Ibrahim Traoré, a leader who believes that sovereignty must be earned, not granted. This is not a campaign for conquest. It is a mission of survival. Inside those trucks lie 50 tons of food, water, and medicine, bound for starving communities cut off by conflict. For villagers in Tambaga and Uguru, this convoy is not a military movement, it is life in motion. Every kilometer the trucks cover is a statement that Burkina Faso will not allow hunger to defeat its people. Before sunrise, the men line up. Engines idle low, exhaust mingling with the morning fog. Sappers walk ahead with metal detectors, sweeping the ground where mines may hide. The landscape is quiet, too quiet. They know the silence here can kill. Each man carries the same understanding. If the convoy fails to arrive, entire villages could disappear before the next rainfall. From the air, the convoy looks like a river of steel winding through red earth. Drones hover above, scanning for movement. The soldiers below move slowly, deliberately patience learned from years of surviving ambushes. They don't talk much. They don't need to. Their eyes tell the story of duty stronger than fear. In villages along the route, people wait. Women crush dried millet into powder, glancing toward the horizon for the sound of engines. A sack of rice costs more than a month's wage here, about $250 for 50 kilograms. Hunger has become an identity, not just a condition. Children dream of the taste of bread they've never eaten. For them, hope travels at 10 kilometers per hour, wrapped in dust, and escorted by men who refuse to turn back. Hours into the journey, the first test appears a shimmer in the dirt, almost invisible. A young sapper kneels. He brushes dust from a half-buried wire. Seconds stretch into eternity. One wrong movement, and 40 tons of food could vanish in flame. He cuts the wire. Silence. Then relief. The road holds. The convoy breathes again and rolls forward, slower now, but more determined than ever. The terrain ahead is merciless, cracked earth, scorched trees, rivers that have forgotten to flow. Yet inside those trucks, life persists. Laughter breaks between bursts of radio static. One soldier hums a song from Uahiguya. Another tapes a photo of his children to the dashboard. He says quietly, "I bring food to someone else's kids, so that someone will bring food to mine." It's a simple logic, but one that holds a nation together. By nightfall, the convoy has covered only 40 kilometers. They stop near a broken bridge. The structure ahead, once sturdy, now hangs in fragments. Over the radio, a voice says, "Bridge out!" Another answers, "We'll build it." And they do. With ropes, logs, and bare hands, soldiers trained for war rebuild what war destroyed. Rain falls, turning dirt to glue and sweat to mud. By dawn, a new bridge stands not perfect, but strong enough to carry a nation's hope across. Day 2 begins under a dark sky. The trucks move again, their wheels digging deep trenches into the road. Behind them, the villages they pass begin to stir. Fires light up. Children wave. For the first time in months, smoke in the east signals life, not loss. Burkina Faso's forgotten east begins to breathe again. But the road is never safe for long. As the convoy enters the dense forests of Kongjari, something feels wrong. The birds are silent. The air has changed. The soldiers of BIR19 tighten their grips, eyes scanning the trees. Then an explosion. A blinding flash tears through the lead vehicle. Steel twists, rice bursts into flame, the sound swallows everything. Men hit the ground as the convoy erupts into chaos. Dust, gunfire, shouts, an ambush. Within seconds, training takes over. Contact north side. Soldiers form lines, using the trucks as cover. The forest spits fire. Bullets slice through leaves. For minutes that feel like forever, they fight blind. No air support, no visibility, just instinct. The mission changes, from delivery to survival. But not one soldier runs. One medic crawls through the smoke to reach a burning truck. A driver lies inside, his voice fading. "Don't stop," he whispers. "The rice must go." He dies before the medic can answer. The truck continues to burn, its cargo gone, but the convoy moves. No one looks back. There is no time for grief, only purpose. A second explosion hits the rear vehicle, flipping it into a ditch. The radio crackles, rear team still standing. Relief ripples through the ranks. They regroup. They push forward. When the smoke clears, 3 soldiers are gone, 2 trucks destroyed, but the mission survives. And in a war like this, survival itself is victory. Night falls again. They stop near the ruins of another bridge. The wounded are treated under moonlight, water from canteens used to clean wounds. Captain Ouedraogo, the convoy leader, writes the names of the dead in a notebook and adds a single word beside each hero. He doesn't speak, he just stares into the dark horizon where lightning flashes or maybe artillery. He knows tomorrow will bring another fight, but also another chance to prove that Burkina Faso still stands. At dawn, the engines start again. BIR19 rolls forward, slower, fewer, but unbroken. Behind them, the road is scarred with craters and ash. Ahead, the faint smoke of Mani rises like a prayer. After 3 days of battle, hunger, and exhaustion, the convoy reaches the outskirts of the town. Word of their arrival spreads fast. Villagers run barefoot to the road, waving flags, shouting names. Women cry openly. Men drop to their knees. The first truck sputters and dies from lack of fuel. No one cares. People rush forward, touching the metal sides of the vehicles as if they were sacred. When the soldiers climb down, covered in mud and ash, they look like ghosts, but to the people, they are angels. Boxes of rice are unloaded. Sacks of millet, drums of water, and cartons of medicine follow. A nurse holds a vial of vaccine against her chest and whispers, "We can save the babies now." Children laugh. For the first time in months, a clinic opens its doors again. Markets reopen. Prices drop. A bag of rice that once cost the impossible now sells for a fraction. And above all, the silence of starvation is broken by the sound of life returning. For the villagers, this is more than aid. It is dignity restored. For the soldiers, it is proof that sacrifice has meaning. A sergeant kneels beside a child and says, "Eat, little one, your laughter is our victory." At the edge of town, graves are dug for the 3 soldiers who didn't make it. Their coffins are draped with the national flag. Hundreds gather to pay respects. No speeches, no ceremony, just silence and tears. A local elder says softly, They gave us tomorrow. And in that single sentence lies the weight of a nation's gratitude. That night, President Ibrahim Traoré appears on national television. Behind him, the Burkina Faso flag ripples under studio lights. He speaks not as a politician, but as a soldier. Our men have not just secured a road, he says, they have reopened the veins of our nation. His message is simple: Burkina Faso will feed itself, defend itself, and define itself without permission from abroad. Across the country, radios crackle with the same phrase: the army has arrived. In Tambaga, villagers light fires in celebration. In Uguru, people sing until dawn. What began as one convoy has become a symbol of rebirth. Internationally, the story barely registers. Foreign news outlets describe it as a counter-terror operation. Few mention the hundreds of civilians now alive because of it. But inside Burkina Faso, something irreversible begins a psychological awakening. People start to believe again that their destiny belongs to them. President Traoré's doctrine is not written in manuals. It's written in acts of endurance, a bridge rebuilt by hand, a convoy that moves despite ambushes, a soldier who gives his life so others can eat. To his critics abroad, he is defiant, too independent, too proud. To his people, he is simply necessary. He walks among soldiers, eats from their plates, and reminds them that sovereignty is not a slogan, it is a shield. And a shield is worthless if someone else holds it for you. In the villages east of Bogande, local volunteers, farmers, teachers, fathers have joined the effort. They call themselves VDPs, Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland. They are not paid soldiers. They fight with old rifles, sometimes with handmade spears, defending roads, escorting convoys, and rebuilding what war destroys. One of them, just 15 years old, once stopped the BIR19 trucks from crossing a bridge he believed was mined. He tested it himself with a stick. The bridge held. When asked why, he said, "Because my mother is on the other side." It is not a war of borders, it is a war of belonging. Together, the BIR19 and the volunteers have turned desperation into defiance. What began as survival has become a lesson for the continent that strength is born from unity, not dependency. As analysts debate politics, ordinary people simply call it what it is: proof that courage still matters. Across the ocean, most viewers will never see this story on the evening news. But perhaps they should. Because on a forgotten road in Burkina Faso, men and women are teaching the world something that comfort has made. Easy to forget that freedom is not built by convenience, but by courage. Tonight, somewhere in the dark expanse of the Sahel, another convoy moves forward. No headlights, no fanfare. Just engines, dust, and belief. Every revolution of those wheels carries food, medicine, and proof that even when abandoned, humanity refuses to die. This is not just a Burkinabe story. It is a human story, one that reminds us that hope, when driven by courage, can still cross the most dangerous roads on Earth.